Welcome to Vintage Radio Extra number 5. No doubt a number of you vintage radio enthusiasts have owned a particular vintage radio, and locating a circuit diagram or certain components, even certain valves, to get it working presents you with a headache, because they are very scarce and will become more scarce as time progresses. One case in point is this PEN DD61 second detector, automatic gain control and audio output pentode valve, incorporated into this 1936 Philco model 471, which hopefully will feature in a future video. Faced with a choice of either leaving a radio functional with hopes one day of locating required parts at reasonable prices, or substituting alternative parts to get it working, our choices one ends up making. It is important to note modifications of any description made to any electrical equipment have immense potential to be immensely dangerous. Electricity, when applied safely, saves lives. If applied with disregard to safety, it will kill. If you are uncertain, therefore, leave well alone. I remember one bright warm summer morning a chap knocking on my front door to ask if there was a chance I could take a look at his radio and give him an estimate whilst he waited, as he had brought that radio all the way from Bakewell on the bus. Bakewell, famous for its Bakewell puddings, is located a few miles in North Derbyshire, past the Yorkshire-Derbyshire border. Having furnished the chap with an estimate, he stood stroking his beard for a while. As my estimate was more expensive than he originally thought, he timidly asked if I would be good enough to dispose of it. I wasn't enthusiastic. Westminster is one of those brands of radio that fails to inspire me. But disposing of old radios is one of a small number of free services I offer, provided radios are brought to my workshop. Here, attached to the back cover of this radio with masking tape really leaves residue on most polished surfaces, is a memo I wrote on the 27th of June 1990. Only a mere quarter century has passed since that time. Incorporating the usual primary and secondary copper wire coil construction, this transformer, owing to its primary winding being effectively two windings, is doing two jobs. The first part of the primary winding, often the greater of the two, forms the audio output transformer primary, and the second part of that winding forms the HT smoothing choke. It is the HT smoothing choke that is not providing any reading or continuity, hence there is no DC voltage reading on the HT rail. Now it so happens I have a fair number of audio output transformers and other transformers in general that are in stock, as you see here. It also happens I have a fair number of valves in stock. This is just a few of them. Amongst those there will be a few EL41s. I go over to the other side of my workshop. There's lots of other valves as well behind what is part of my stock of transistor radios. From seeing those transformers and valves a moment ago, it is reasonable to assume I have to hand components that would be compliant with the design of this radio's power supply and audio output circuitries. It is my intention to substitute the EL41 valve with an EL84 valve. That will necessitate changing the existing B8A valve base with a B9A type. I will also alter the HT rail circuit, as I do not intend to replace the audio output transformer with one that incorporates a smoothing choke. So, you may ask, why all the proposed clever stuff, Phil? You will remember I did say I am using this radio to simulate a time in the future when certain vintage radio components will be close to impossible to source. A little over 25 years ago, I selected this audio output and HT smoothing choke combined transformer to replace the one I diagnosed as being defective. Up to 3 weeks ago, it remained idle inside the back of this radio. It is a direct fit, but I'm no longer going to fit it to this chassis. I will fit this one instead. A straightforward single end audio output transformer that does not combine a HT smoothing choke section. Here we go. Out with the old defective transformer and in with the replacement, complete with a little bit of fluff and dust. Excuse me once again whilst I liberate this valve base. Just before I do that small task, I'll show you viewers a section of this transformer's primary winding is OC. I'll just put it on that little solder tag there. You can see there's no reading on the meter, and on the other one there is no reading. There we are, getting a reading. And on that one we don't get a reading. So this transformer is definitely OC on its primary winding.